It started out with a leprechaun. The little fellow was maybe 5 feet tall, and he had a red beard and short and stout. Good morning. It is a little bit chilly in central Minnesota today. Welcome back to Long Dogs and Firewood Logs. It was 36 this morning. Yesterday morning we got up, had about 3/4 of an inch of snow. It's 14th, so coming early this year. So we're going to be doing some splitting today. I've got a couple pallets. Looks like maybe 2.5 pallets of rounds already brought up. And these were from the rotten tree. So we've had a fair amount of wind, rain, and then that snow yesterday morning overnight. So it's affected the color. This was pretty vibrant last weekend. Maybe once the sun gets out a little stronger today and dries things off. We had a little rain, maybe that'll improve things and get some more of the color. We're probably a little past peak now up here, but time to get, there's a whole stand of these dead red oaks here on this property. And I've been gradually taking some down. The bark is coming off, or is off, and a lot of the limbs up above, the small stuff, has blown down and is no longer an issue. So it's time for a break. A little bit about how I got started in the firewood business. And it may sound like a strange story. I know when I first told my brother about it, I think he thought I had gone plumb crazy. So I guess the best way is just to say it. It started out with a leprechaun. The little fellow was maybe 5 feet tall, and he had a red beard, and short and stout, and you could say I got a piece of his gold. Yeah, so actually the guy's name was Jeff, and on his Facebook page he's dressed as a leprechaun. And anyway, when I was first getting started, somehow he and I touched base. I think I had a ad posted on Facebook Marketplace, you know, one of the first ones I'd ever dropped, and he was interested in some wood, but he heats his home with it, and didn't really want to pay premium prices for obvious reasons. You know, if he's going through a lot of it, I get it. And so he said, what if I give you some help? In the beginning, I was renting a splitter after I'd get a bunch of wood, you know, rounds cut up and all ready to go, and then just make a day of splitting. Well, one day the leprechaun came out to the wood yard, and he brought a old beast of a splitter. I think I might have a picture I can insert here, but he brought that splitter, and we took down a couple really nice sized ash trees. I was getting somewhere 16, 18 sticks, big sticks, out of one round. It had to have been a good 30 inches at least at the base. And so we got a lot of firewood out of that. I would probably say 4, maybe 5 cord. It was a lot of tree. And this is an ash tree that's liable to be getting hit with ash borer anyway in the near future. A couple of them actually, and he and I cut those up. We split them up. It was pretty cold, a little snowy, and you know, he taught me some things to be careful of with the splitter, like when the wood splits, don't get your fingers in the middle, because sometimes it comes back together, especially on, you know, something like a white oak or an ash. And so anyway, I was telling my brother about, hey, I met this leprechaun. And he's like, no way, have you lost it? What's going on? And I'm like, no, seriously, I met a leprechaun, and I sent him a picture of his Facebook page dressed as a leprechaun. And he's like, oh my gosh, that's a leprechaun. And I'm like, yeah, it is. And I guess he taught me quite a bit about, you know, when I'm splitting, things to be careful of, cautious of, you know, just watching. One little trick that he showed me is using your hip a lot with the wood and the splitter. I don't know if you could see that in some of the video captures from today's splitting, but putting the hip into it a little bit to stabilize, you know, take a little less stress off the body, use your body weight. That was a really big one. The other was, you know, not getting your fingers caught in between, you know, when you're trying to split it apart. So being careful on that end. But there were a lot of other little small tricks as we were going, like doubling up sometimes when you've got smaller pieces, or, you know, just flipping an 8-inch round, you know, flip it once after you split it once, and then you got 4 sticks right there without handling it much. Watched a lot of videos too. A lot of things from Mike Morgan. Thank you, Mike, for all the insights you've given me through your videos and in person. But even though we're on different parts of the country, he's out by Pittsburgh and I'm closer to Minneapolis, St. Paul. Gotten a lot of good insights, from him too. One of the biggest, I think, is working smart, not hard. And then how do you minimize the number of touches that you have as you're processing from felling the tree to, final product loaded out the door? Just always thinking about critically, how can I make the process more efficient? How can I save, wear and tear on my body? That type of thing. Obviously, I don't have a huge budget since it's kind of a part-time side gig, side hustle, if you will. But that's kind of how I got started in the wood business and dealing with the firewood, thanks to the Leprechaun. thanks for watching, and if you enjoy the videos, please hit subscribe. I appreciate that, and hopefully we keep cranking out more videos as it cools off.